All right, 7 o'clock, time to call this meeting to order. Everyone please stand for pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Booth, if you lead us in tonight's opening prayer.
Thank you. Lord, please help us make wise decisions for the city and the people of Nelsonville, and to be able to come to consensus and talk things over in good order and in confidence. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Call the roll, ma'am.
Mr. President, if I may, could we ask, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence for Dorothy Gettle, who passed away last week. Thank you.
Call the roll.
Mr. Clement?
Here.
Mr. Taylor?
Here.
Mr. Duffy?
Here.
Mr. Sherman?
Here.
Mr. Booth?
Here.
Ms. Sonic? Here.
Okay, has everyone had a chance to review the minutes from the last regular meeting and special meeting? Any council discussion on said minutes? Motion to approve.
So,
Second.
Mr. Taylor?
yes.
Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Ms. Sonic? Yes. Mr. Clement?
Yes.
All right, auditor / treasurer's report. Mr. Sappington.
Good evening, City Council, residents in attendance and at home. We'll start with the Treasurer's Report for June 2023. Thanks for giving us a few minutes tonight. If we hadn't got in tonight, we would have had a break from the numbers from May to September. Just quite the break. And Mr. Mullane offers his apologies, his new place of employment. He had to work tonight, so he couldn't make it. On the first page, technically page 2, first page of items to review, you see the account balances as of June 30th, 2023, with our sweep accounts, money market, and our CD certificate of deposit growing nicely. On the next page, you'll see why it's growing with the record of investments, the interest rate on those interest-bearing accounts, and interest year to date. I noticed yesterday, one of our great hedges against inflation, we're in the same situation as many cities and villages that have a carryover to speak of. Fortunately, we can speak of it. One of the great hedges against inflation for cities in our position are these interest rates. So the Fed has raised interest rates quicker than ever in history, and we actually, from one account, received more interest in a month than we expected to have an entire year based off the last 10 years of interest rates. So fortunately, if it wasn't for those things, inflation would be eating our funds quickly, much like the rest of us. So total year-to-date interest, $58,448.63. Those interest rates in July actually went up, thanks to the Treasurer and People's Bank. You'll see the bank reconciliation on page, I think this is 3, to the books on 4. And you can see everything itemized as Mr. Mullane said. So that's the Treasurer's Report, June 2023. The Auditor's Report on the screen as well as online. We will start June 2023. The city's revenues outpaced expenses, always a good position. The numbers, you'll see revenues and expenses for June 2023, 1.667 million in revenues, 1.281 in expenses, far and away higher than any normal month in Nelsonville because of the continuing water and wastewater treatment plant projects. We have major fund balances at June end all funds combined, general fund, combined street fund, bold signifies a healthy and stabilized balance under a generally accepted definition across the country, which is 6 months of expenses. If you read the news, which if you're here, you probably do, you know that the country can't seem to stop talking about the recession that doesn't seem to ever come. One day when that comes, I hope we will be quite grateful to have these balances to lean on for our services and our employees, which is why we call it a healthy, stable balance. You go further down. Thank you, Councilman. This is the statement of cash position. This report really still does not show up well. That's why I put the numbers before this, but it is sent to your emails last week. It's also online for review anytime. This is the credit card report for June 2023. You will see Save a Lot and Sam's Club. That is for the pool concessions. Microsoft, you see that every single month for our Microsoft accounts. Indeed is job postings. American Red Cross is lifeguard certifications. And Alco Pro is PD OVI testing materials. I think I described that right.
Yes.
Okay. I had to look that up on exactly how to say that. I wasn't sure. So that's a quick overview of the city's finances, both the auditors and treasurer's report. The final items I wanted to end with, at the cityofnelsonville.com or in the utilities office, you can pick up a water line survey as well as a consumer confidence report. The water line survey, we're not getting very many responses, and we would very much love to as part of a grant for free water line replacements. It makes our water safer, healthier, easier. I think easier is a good word to deliver. And the surveys help us in the grant implementation and where to spend those funds. So if you complete that water line survey, you're helping not just the city, but likely your own water quality and consumption. So please either find that online or come into the office.
So the online, how long does it take to complete? How many questions is it?
I think it's less than a page, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Half dozen questions.
It's a full page, but with
You have to type it
instructions.
in or just hit a bubble or?
I've not done it up. I'm not
Okay.
It's not fillable online, unfortunately.
Also, you got to print it off,
Yes.
complete it, and then bring it in.
And we're happy to send it to whoever. If anyone just call in. I don't think we have anywhere near enough responses.
Anyway, vote online.
Through fillable?
Yeah.
Well,
Survey Monkey or something that's kind of like.
practically, yes. If you think the grant would accept a Google form, or do they need a signature?
I don't think they need a signature. They're just looking for information. Ohio RCAP's doing it for the city, so I'll have to ask those questions.
Might help our response rate.
Yeah, it'll be a little easier to complete.
That's
Any
a good-
chance you have some you could pass them out to us before we leave tonight?
I can get some.
Thank you.
I can get some. Absolutely. I wanted to remind everybody, you can find all of these reports as well as their supporting financials online at the same cityofnelsonville.com. Our quick updates, state audit continues with brisk pace. I think I mentioned at the previous meeting, we have a new set. They are thorough and expert, and I'm excited to see where we excelled and where we can improve. I might be the only person excited for that in this room, but I'm excited. And I wanted to keep this new tradition going. It was suggested to me, it was not my idea. And I'd like to end my auditor's reports by thanking some employees who hit their anniversary years of service date at the city. I think it helps end on a nice positive point and reminds us what we have these numbers and funds for. So Judy Smith hit 8 years on June 8th. Delbert Kimes at the wastewater, Judy's my deputy auditor. Delbert Kimes at the sewer plant, 34 years, June 23rd. Firefighter Dunn in the fire department, 3 years on July 1st. Our city attorney, Bob Toy, hit his 2-year anniversary, July 8th. Our fire chief hit 19 years, Harry Barber, on July 28th. And I want to thank all of them, including Tara Cade there at the bottom. Account clerk hit 2 years just last week for their service to the city. Any questions? Okay. Thank you much.
Thank you.
All right, mayor's court and roll call. What's that? I'm sorry, motion to accept the auditor/treasurer's report.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Ms. Sonic? Yes. Mr. Clement?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
All right, the mayor/court, mayor's report and roll call. We had mayor's court on August 8th. We had over 70% of the people show up. What we do with the people who don't show up is we just refer them right to municipal court. So they skip mayor's court and go to municipal. The major offenses were no driving without an operator's license. There was one count of disorderly conduct, but basically all traffic offenses. So that's all we basically hear here. All right, we are moving on to citizens' comments. Do we have any citizens?
I do,
All right, go
and
ahead.
I came fully prepared.
Okay,
I'll just talk while I'm doing this. The person that really wanted to be here tonight was Mary Moffett, but she's been waiting several months to get into a position in Boston. And when you have to do your health compared to this, then she went to Boston, but she gave me all the information, and I will share it with you so that you know what she's talking about.
get the purple.
No.
This is yours.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, that's mine.
Oh,
Yeah.
I deserve that.
Does anybody else need one? I do have one for you, and just so you know, I have some very paperwork that you're talking about.
Yes.
But you want to look at it, because they're not- She had one. Okay, sure you are. I don't.
Oh.
You missed Greg,
Oh.
Susan gave.
or Susan
I missed you.
Greg.
Greg, I missed you.
I got one.
You were talking, weren't you?
Susan gave hers.
Oh, okay, well, I do have another one, I didn't know how I got the next one. That's what I did. Okay, if you wanna just take a quick look at it, what had happened, she's got a borderline up there between the road and her house. And where the gas company came in and they put a new one, it's really nice, but past that, and that would be the color picture, the second picture that you have in there. The color picture shows where it is washed away, which means since she lives up on Church Street is the one that goes up to the cross. So you've got this hill coming down. And when that gutter area is washed away, everything drains into her house, into her basement and down. And the pictures that the man took are the ones, they're actually interesting if anybody wants to see them, but they're the ones that show from the aerial view how the land is laid and you can't fix it. If you put in a new one, like what the gas company put in, and it looks like it may be, I don't know, maybe 16 feet at the most. I didn't measure it, but it's not huge. Then that would save a lot of grief for everybody. And she has her letter there that I'd like you to read and see what it says. Look at the pictures. And I did talk to Mr. Tolliver, and he said that he didn't want to do anything about it because it really needed to be looked at by council. So please look at it. And it seems to be a relatively simple fix at this point in time. And with all this wonderful weather we're having and what we're going to do, let's fix it before it gets really into the tens of thousands, probably 10 or 12, where it could be less than 2 or 3 right now, or less. And I know that this man right here makes really good things.
Hers, really good.
Berms.
Berms. What do you call them? Berms. I'm gonna write that down so I get it right. But I know you do good berms, because I've seen them on the roads where I live. that is all that she has. If you have any other questions, I do have those pictures, which are absolutely amazing to look at because they're done from up above and it shows how, well, there's a lot of things in there you might want to see where that water's going to go, and you won't like it. Neither does she, because it's in her basement now. Yes.
Yep, the only comment is you tell her she gets an A+, because I told her to put it in writing, get some pictures. Report is exceptional. Had a chance to look at it, very serious concern. She was very polite, listened, and she just wanted something done. So you tell her she gets an A+.
Well, the
This
A+
report.
will only be really valid if something happens.
I know. I'm urging.
And I will tell her that because we want her surgery or whatever. I don't know what she's having done, but if it's in Boston, it's gotta be
But
important.
it was exceptional. Thank you. Tell her thank you.
I will, because how can you guess at this stuff? You just can't guess. That's all. It wasn't my report, but it was hers. So thank you so much for listening, and I can't wait to see it up there. I'll even bring you down.
It's a public record. Anybody wants to see it, can ask for it.
Oh, I've got another copy if anybody
She can hand them
wants.
out.
Can I ask Jason a question?
Go ahead.
Mr. Crone, there's, I see some yellow lines in the color picture. Is the gas company, are they done working up there? They're
That
gonna.
they are done, and that's what they drew on there, and what you see, the real nice berm,
Just want to make sure.
they did
I didn't
that.
know if there was any more work going to be done up there yet. So. Thank you.
The letter will be added to the record.
Susan has a copy.
She will have. Okay. Any other citizens' comments? Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Thank you from her.
All right, any business and organizational comments?
I'd like to.
Okay, go ahead, ma'am.
I understand that tonight you may or may not choose someone to fill the empty chair. I was not made aware of this. I had to find out through the grapevine. And I really wish that when you have things like this going on, am I boring you, Tony?
No, I'm writing that.
I really wish that you would allow all of us to be privy to it.
Privy to what? What are you talking about?
Whatever is going to happen in the meetings.
Okay, sure. All right, any committee discussions?
Yes, Mr. President, the Finance Committee met and we have numerous pieces of legislation for tonight. And police and fire, we need to have a committee meeting next week to discuss the dispatching. And we'll set a date and time for that next week. Next week,
Do you know which day?
I'm sorry.
Do you know which day?
No, we have to wait for, someone's on vacation this week, so next Monday they'll be contacted. We'll contact Athens 911 and Hawking College to set up the best day.
It'll be later in the week.
Later in the week.
I assume.
Any more committee discussions?
Mr. President, we had a utility meeting, a lot of which is on the agenda this evening. And I would like to do a follow-up utility meeting. We do have, I got a copy of the last RFP that the city put out. Mr. Tolliver was able to find that for me. And so I'd like to be able to go through that and make the adjustments that we discussed in the previous meeting. Also, we need to discuss the rate increase on the sewer beginning in January. So we can propose that legislation as well. So Wednesday night,
For utilities?
Yep, you and Nancy. Just trying to,
I can do Wednesday.
This week.
Sorry,
this week?
I like it from there.
What time? 6?
6 is fine, 6:30. I'm flexible on that, so.
That's
Okay, all right. 23rd, is that what you're talking about?
16.
No, you're right, I forgot about that.
It's opening night.
This may or may not be a good time. I'd like to see if we can get into the habit of having one night for committee meetings again.
Well, that's why I was trying to do that on a Wednesday.
Well, I was going to kind of suggest maybe the Wednesday after the second council meeting this month, that would put us right after what our presumably second meeting would be, since we will have one. But if we get in the habit of doing that, that'll keep everything flowing. Just my thought.
I'm fine with that.
No,
I
that's
just want to make sure we talked about, we just talked about in the last meeting, getting our, trash contract
Started.
done by, as soon as possible. So they're gonna push us back too much. They'll push us till,
Maybe the 30th.
yeah, 30th would be, and then that's
So 2 weeks.
So you basically have then a month and, get the RFPs
I mean,
out.
it's gonna be, super meeting, I'd say.
It wouldn't be, no. But you're right, but I don't wanna take away from anybody's
Right.
trade deals, so.
We can just do it for the cash.
I'll tell you what, why don't we can we shoot maybe to have it on the same night as the police and fire, at least try to consolidate it?
Yeah, that's smart. Okay,
So
let us know whenever.
Yeah, because I'm gonna coordinate with, Devin.
Okay, so we'll do that. We'll shoot for next week, and then we'll try to get on that rotation, so at least we're.
Make sure we're maximizing everybody's time.
I'm sorry, did you choose the date? I apologize.
No, I think we're gonna wait until the police and fire meeting. I didn't wanna do it, I forgot about Parade of Hills, so I wasn't thinking about that. So I don't wanna do it during Parade of Hills for anybody. So we'll do it sometime next week, probably the same night as the police and fire, Nancy.
Okay.
So.
All right, any other committee discussions?
Oh, sorry. I think I would like to, propose that, planning and development meet, and discuss, Title 31. We had this, proposed once before, and a referendum was started by a former council member at that time. But Title 31 is a much stricter housing code than what we currently have, and I'd like to see that discussed in planning and development. Brought back.
That pertains to rental housing, correct?
Rental housing only, yes.
Okay, anything else? All right, departmental updates. Chief Barber?
All right, since last update, structure fire calls have tapered off. Again, we're still partnering with Red Cross for smoke alarm installs within the city. So interested individuals would then contact the station. We've got an assessment of the home, install the smoke detector, fill out the appropriate paperwork. It's a little bit more of a lengthy process, but it is a Red Cross program, and we get this free of charge through Red Cross. So that's why we have to fill out the paperwork. I think the last police and fire committee meeting, we talked about adding to the part-time roster, adding the number of available part-time firefighters, amending that to 20 from 13 now. Again, for everybody in the room, that wouldn't change the amount of firefighters that have on duty or on shift at one time. It would just add to the pool of available firefighters to cover open shifts. Somebody that's hurt or can't be letting themselves. Also, we talked about the Haas vehicle alert system. I do have the transponders for the vehicles. I'm in the process right now of wiring those up in the trucks. There should be appropriations for tonight for grant money and fire recovery funds that come in. Right now, with those, that would cover 3 grants and fire recovery funds that have come in since March. Since the last meeting, grants that have been submitted are a firefighter's environmental elements exposure grant, which is a 5-to-1 matching grant with a maximum payout of $15,000. They have actually allowed, there's a gray area, and with BWC, we have been allowed to submit this grant. It is for volunteer fire departments, but since we're a combination department, I still have volunteers on staff. I can actually go after gear, which will offset some of my capital improvement money, so I can actually purchase equipment through that line item as well. So that will offset potentially up to $15,000 that would go towards bucket that I can now go towards equipment. We got another grant for a rescue boat trailer. Right now we have 2 rescue boats on 2 separate trailers in the bay. If anybody's been in the fire department, they realize we're shoulder to shoulder there. It's very tight. So this is a double, for lack of better terms, a double-decker boat, which would have the inflatable boat on top with our articulating ramp. So we can transport both boats at the same time. They take up less space. That is approximately $25,000. I haven't heard back from the grant awards yet, so we're still waiting. Next one's the safety intervention grant. I'm running that one for vehicle stabilization struts and battery operated ventilation fans. I'm in a process right now of working on quotes for that grant. Everybody knows Pray the Hills is coming up, and like usual, staff, as long as staff are available, we will have dedicated crews again at Pray the Hills for EMS coverage, as well as on-duty crews will be there if they're on emergency calls. And that's all I've got.
Thank you. Any questions for Chief Barber?
Chief, sorry. Go ahead.
You want to move your volunteers up to 20? Your staff or part-time?
Part-time. So right now we have staff who works for 13, allows for 13 part-time firefighters. Remember, most of the firefighters actually work other jobs. So it'd be nice to have a larger pool of firefighters at full-time. And really the expense that we're looking at would be BWC coverage and uniform allowance. So again, from the last meeting, this if it happened during the last meeting, if it would have happened that quick, if it's something like that, actually it would have budget for this year. So it's a very minimal expense just to allow us to have more firefighters at full-time.
That's why I wanted to clarify too, part-time. And then you have 13 filled though now though, correct?
I have 12 getting ready to get after 11.
But do we have other candidates though that are wanting to fill those other 2 spots?
Yeah, I can get filled.
Any more questions for Chief Barber?
I'd like to make a motion to interview candidates for the open council position. I'd like to amend the agenda.
Okay. There's a motion on the floor.
Second.
Call the roll, ma'am.
Mr. Sherman?
No, I don't think all candidates been contacted.
Yes.
Ms. Sonic?
No.
Mr. Clement?
That raises a question.
Candidates?
Were the candidates all contacted?
No.
No.
I thought we discussed it that we would go on tonight.
I didn't know anything about it.
Okay.
They discussed.
No one contacted John.
Once against Tony, don't know anything.
Okay. We will, have a special meeting. It's fine.
I'm sorry, what did you say, sir?
I said we will have a special meeting and to appoint or to vote
Is this going to be
public.
an executive? Oh, I'm public, okay.
It'll be in public. We do all the interviews for city council in public. Okay.
Was that all the department meetings also? Department updates?
You update?
Jason, are you doing an update?
I've got just a couple. We've had 6 main leaks since the last time I updated. 2 of them were on lines that are getting replaced in this ongoing project right now. There's been 8 after-hour callouts. Everything from trees down to drains blowing out people's front doors. We put down 32 ton of asphalt for patching since the last meeting. Tomorrow, Railroad Street's getting paved. Railroad Street, where they had it tore up in front of Pollard Field since Wednesday's athletic day. They're moving down there to get that knocked out and then coming back up to Myers Street and north, which they'll be on Myers and North on Wednesday. The crew is doing the water. They're at Adams and Franklin. They're gonna dig a little bit of the way up Franklin towards Madison, but they're stopping. We're not letting them go past Madison this week since that's the only way around the square. And as long as everything stays on schedule, the sewer plant should be open in about 3 weeks.
How long?
3 weeks.
I saw they got all the paving done out there. It's really nice.
That's all I got.
Okay.
I got a question real quick. So they're gonna slow their project as far as the water lines on Franklin.
They're not slowing down.
It's not, okay.
They're gonna fall back. They've got some other stuff to do. To work past.
So it won't affect their
No,
timetable.
it's not affecting them. I don't want them going up there because then we'll have Franklin shut down and that
Right.
pretty much kills anywhere around there. If you follow.
Agreed. Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
What are they doing on County Road 5? I came back that today and I
Is that
was
Wood Lane?
done. Yes.
That's part of the water project. They're directional drilling the water out through there.
Yes. The kids start school, I believe, next week. It's Thursday and Friday, but I thought, wow, an emergency vehicle couldn't get through there. Not that they're blocking it, and I understand now what they're doing, but I just thought some way to let people know to avoid that.
We could put out a press release, say that's out there.
Good. Is that it? All right, moving on to first reading. Ordinance 40-23, need someone to introduce it, please?
I will.
Yeah, I'm ready. An ordinance setting the authorized staff in the city departments. Whereas the existing 2023 staffing ordinance has been amended several times in 2023. Whereas the purpose of this ordinance is to accurately track and reflect all amendments throughout the 2023 calendar year ordinance. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the City of Nelsonville that staffing in the police department is as follows: 1 full-time chief, 2 full-time sergeants, 1 full-time canine officer, 7 full-time police officers, and 1 full-time clerk. The police department pay chart, the clerk, step 1 is $18.21. Step 2 is $18.52. Step 3 is $18.78. Patrol officer, step 1 is $19.88. Step 2 is $20.28. Step 3 is $20.69. And step 4 is $21.10. Sergeant pay, step 1 is $22.37. Step 2 is $22.80. Step 3 is $23.22. Police chief's salary is $76,500. Staffing in the fire department is as follows: 1 full-time chief, 1 full-time lieutenant, 1 full-time senior firefighter, and 1 full-time firefighter, and 13 part-time firefighters. Fire department pay chart is, part-time firefighter, step 1 is $11.25. Full-time firefighter, step 1 is $14.14. Step 2 is $14.50. Step 3 is $14.88. Senior firefighter, step 1 is $14.25. Step 2 is $14.63. Step 4 is $14.99. Lieutenant, step 1, $15.89. Step 2, $16.20. Step 3, $16.49. The fire chief's salary is $69,071.60. Staffing in the utility department is 1 full-time service director, 1 full-time wastewater operator of record, and 10 utility technicians. The utility pay chart is utility tech, step 1, $18.50. Step 2, $19.04. Step 3, $19.71. Wastewater operators, $26.01. Step 2 is $27.05. Step 3 is $28.09. Service director's salary is $66,300. Staffing in the auditor's office is 1 elected city auditor, 1 full-time deputy auditor, and 2 full-time account clerks. The auditor's office pay scale, the account clerk, step 1 is $18.21. Step 2 is $18.52, and step 3 is $18.78. The auditor's salary is $60,000. Deputy auditor's salary is $42,500. Staffing in the city manager's office is 1 full-time city manager, 1 part-time code enforcement officer, 1 part-time council secretary, 1 part-time law director, and 1 part-time city prosecutor. City manager, administrative assistant, code officer, council clerk, 7 council members. City prosecutor and law director. Pay chart for the code officer, step 1 is $17.67. Step 2 is $18.04. Step 3 is $18.47. City manager salaries refer to the contract. Administrative assistant pay scale is step 1, $14. Step 2, $15. Step 3, $16. Law director and prosecutor rates refer to their contracts. Council clerk salary is $1,000 a month. Council member salary is $100 a month. Council president salary is $200 a month. Seasonal staffing is 1 seasonal aquatic center manager at $10,000 per season, up to 2 head lifeguards for $12 per hour, and up to 20 part-time aquatic center lifeguard attendants, $11 per hour. Benefits and offerings for full-time union employees will match approved language in their respective collective bargaining agreements. Hired department heads, benefits and offerings and limitations for the police chief, fire chief, service director, field plant director, police clerk, and deputy auditor will operate according to the past and best practice, employee handbook, and set policies. Part-time non-seasonal employees shall be offered dental, eye, and life insurance. Health insurance will not be offered for part-time employees. Nothing in this ordinance shall be used or construed to overrule or repeal future pay increases or offer benefits already approved by contract or city council ordinance. This ordinance is being passed as an emergency measure pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 731.3 because staffing needs to be enacted before the end of the season and shall be effective at the earliest date provided by law. Duly enacted by council on first reading of suspension of the rules 14th day of August 2023.
Okay, any council discussion on said matter?
So the part-time firefighter should be 20, not 13, if that's already gone through committee. We had a staffing ordinance already for the aquatic center. Now, because he said, she said, somebody told somebody this or that, at the end of the year, you want to bump up 2 lifeguards to $12 an hour. Yet our part-time firefighters still get $11.25 an hour.
That was promised by the former city manager to lifeguards.
There was people that were promised raises,
Damn.
his room never got it.
Would you don't want to honor what was said by him, so that those people who had lifeguards just don't get paid?
That's why we put
Is that what-
staffing ordinance at the beginning of
Right,
the
and
year.
he didn't pay attention to it.
Let me tell you.
I was told that we could get involved with firefighters because of legal reasons, the union.
It's union, yeah. That's a union
So that's,
negotiator.
Part-time?
Yeah.
I did not pursue it because of that.
Any more council discussion?
Yeah, I have more of a comment than a question on the code officer. That position used to be full-time, and we're taking it back to part-time. I'll support this at the moment, but I think at some point we need to look at adding a second part-time code officer. Because when you drive around town, it's pretty obvious that one person part-time cannot handle that job.
There's a lot to do.
That's a lot.
Can we discuss that in the next police and fire?
Yeah, sure can.
And the rental registration fee, which is $30 per unit, I don't know if we ever collected the full 100% that should have been, but that money was supposed to offset the cost of the code officer. And if we just have one part-time code officer, I don't think that the rental registration fee should fund that totally. So,
I think it makes sense to have a full-time position then.
well,
Or
not
two
yeah,
part-times.
or two part-time. So I think we need to look at that.
May I?
Sure.
It's my understanding that the code officer is sending out letters as opposed to going out and ticketing people at the beginning.
There's a procedure they have to follow that's legal with the court system,
That's right.
that you
And
send letters,
the ticket
notifications.
is the first part of it. The letter comes when the individual has not come into court or paid the fine.
He's not,
Well,
he's issuing kind of like warnings, asking people to voluntarily comply, and
the
So
previous,
it's not giving them a ticket.
he hasn't yet, no.
the previous code officer did the same thing, same policy. She would, give a warning, and then if they didn't comply within 10 days or 14 days, whatever, then they would receive citation.
Right, but he's going past that though, right?
I
He's just
don't
sending
know.
out letters. That's the reason there's so much stuff going on.
That's day-to-day operations, we're really not involved in day-to-day operations. Or not. So is he sending out letters?
He has been sending out letters, warning letters, especially for individuals that have rentals that aren't local residents that he can't go talk to about these issues.
So are we getting pretty good compliance?
Seems to be consistent, so they're all compliant.
Any more council discussion? Okay. Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Motion
Motion
to suspend the rules.
Motion to suspend.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Ms. Sonic? Mr. Clement?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Mr. Sherman?
No,
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Sonic?
Yes.
Mr. Clement?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Mr. Sherman?
no,
Mr. Booth?
Yes. Ordinance 41-23. Need someone to introduce it, please. Thank you.
An ordinance authorizing the city manager to prepare and submit an application to participate in the Ohio Public Works Commission State Capital Improvement and/or local transportation improvement program, and to execute contracts as required and declaring an emergency. Whereas the state capital improvement program and a local transportation improvement program both provide financial assistance to political subdivisions and for capital improvement to public infrastructure. And whereas the city of Nelsonville, Athens County, Ohio is planning to make capital improvements to Canal Street and Borough Boulevard resurfacing project. And whereas the infrastructure improvement herein above described is considered to be a priority need for the community and is a qualified project under OPWC programs. Now therefore be it ordained by the council of the city of Nelsonville, Ohio, that the city manager is hereby authorized to apply for the OPWC for funds as described above. That the city manager is authorized to enter into any agreements as may be necessary and appropriate for obtaining this financial assistance. This ordinance is being passed as an emergency measure pursuant to ORC 731.30, Article 4, Section 4.09 through 4.11, as an emergency in the operation of the city government and is necessary for the immediate preservation of the public peace, health, safety, morals, or welfare of the city, and this ordinance shall be in full force and effect upon its adoption. Duly enacted by council this 14th day of August, 2022.
Any council discussion on that?
This project will be for 24, correct? So we'll be done in, yeah.
It's the Canal Street project, correct?
Yeah, the funds will become available July 1st. Okay, it's successful.
That's still paving from one end of the canal to the other, right?
It is. This is to help fill the gap with the project funding.
Motion to suspend.
So,
Second.
Mr. Clement,
yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Duffy,
Yes.
Mr. Sherman,
Yes.
Mr. Booth,
Yes.
Ms. Sonic, yes,
Motion to adopt.
Second time.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Duffy,
Yes.
Mr. Sherman,
Yes.
Mr. Booth,
Yes.
Ms. Sonic, no. Mr. Clement,
Yes.
Ordinance 42-23. Would someone introduce it, please?
I'll introduce it.
Thank you.
and ordinance authorizing the city manager to apply for, accept, and enter into an Ohio EPA water pollution control loan fund agreement on behalf of the city of Nelsonville for design of the regional wastewater collection system improvements phase 4 project, and designating a dedicated repayment source for the loan and declaring an emergency. Whereas the city of Nelsonville seeks to design the regional wastewater collection system improvements phase 4 project, and whereas the city of Nelsonville intends to apply for an Ohio EPA Water Pollution Control Loan Fund, WPCLF, design loan to finance the design of the project, and whereas the Ohio EPA requires the government authority to pass legislation for application of a loan and the execution of an agreement, as well as designating a dedicated payment source. Now therefore be it ordained by the council of the city of Nelsonville, Ohio, it is necessary to complete the regional collection system improvements phase 4 project for the health, safety, and welfare of the residents of the city of Nelsonville. It is necessary to apply for a design loan from the Ohio EPA Water Pollution Control Loan Fund. The city manager of the city of Nelsonville be and is hereby authorized to request from the Ohio EPA Water Pollution Control Loan Fund the financing required to complete the design of the project. That the method of repayment of money loaned from the Ohio EPA Water Pollution Control Fund loan shall be wastewater revenues generated from Nelsonville wastewater customers. This ordinance is being passed as an emergency measure pursuant to ORC 731.30, Article 4, Sections 4.09 through 4.11 as an emergency in the operation of the city government and is necessary for the immediate preservation of the public peace, health, safety, morals, or welfare of the city. And this ordinance shall be in full force and effect upon its adoption. Duly enacted by council on first reading under suspension of the rules, 14th day of August, 2023.
Okay, and this phase 4 is the scenic lane project
That's correct.
and the up the hill.
Riverside Drive, a little section of Scott Street, filling sewer in that area, and the force main coming over Mason City Hill.
So there's some failed sewer in Scott Street area.
Yes, yeah, not very long, 2 manhole sections.
Okay. And of course, this will include repaving. Repaving will be included in this also, correct?
Well, most, repaving the trench patched areas of the sewer system. If we're lucky, we can, work with other agencies to do an overlay like we're doing with the current project, but, time will tell on that.
Okay.
It's very minimum.
Scott Street's on the list for repaving next year with Pleasant View.
Well, Pleasant View is going to get repaved to the water project, correct? Because then the water line going right up through the
It
middle.
is, yeah, so.
This manhole happens to sit in the grass area between Pleasant View and Scott Street right there. And Pleasant and Scott.
Oh, okay. There you're at. Okay, any council discussion on said matter? And everything was released from the commissioners too, correct?
Correct. They had a public meeting and they sent a letter with their, I think it was legislation, but where they made a motion at the released area. So the next
I think it was the minutes from the meetings. All right, it's in the next one.
It's in
Okay,
the next one.
all right.
Motion to suspend.
I'll second that.
Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Ms. Sonic?
Yes.
Mr. Clement?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Ms. Sonic?
Yes.
Mr. Clement?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Duffy?
Yes. All right, ordinance 43-23, need someone to introduce it, please.
I'll introduce it.
Thank you.
An ordinance approving the Nelsonville Regional Wastewater Collection System Improvement Phase 4 Professional Services Agreement and authorizing the acting city manager to enter into said agreement and declaring an emergency. Whereas it is necessary for the city of Nelsonville to enter into the Nelsonville Regional Wastewater Collection System Improvements 4 Professional Services Agreement, hereinafter referred to as the Professional Services Agreement. Whereas the Athens County Commissioners voted to release the unincorporated area to be served by the city on July 31st, 2023, as evidenced by the attached letter attached as Exhibit 1. Whereas the city procured general engineering services for various projects, including sewer projects, in November of 2021 and selected DLZ to provide services for projects as they arise. Whereas the total amount of the professional services agreement is $498,250 and is being funded by the APA with principal forgiveness. And whereas the professional services agreement is attached as Exhibit 2. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the City of Nelsonville, Athens County, Ohio as follows. The Nelsonville Regional Wastewater Collection System Improvements Phase 4 Professional Services Agreement shall hereby be approved and is incorporated herein by reference. The acting city manager is hereby authorized to sign and enter into the Nelsonville Regional Wastewater Collection System Improvements Phase 4 Professional Services Agreement attached and incorporated by reference to this ordinance as Exhibit 2, as if fully rewritten. Rewritten herein. This ordinance is being passed as an emergency measure pursuant to ORC 731.30, Article 4, Section 4.09 through 4.11, as an emergency in the operation of the city government and is necessary for the immediate preservation of the public peace, health, safety, morals, or welfare of the city. And this ordinance shall be in full force and effect upon its adoption. Duly enacted by council under first reading under suspension of the rules, 14th day of August, 2023.
Any council discussion on said matter?
So scenic lane was released by the commissioners, correct? So
Yes.
now the city annexes that in, correct? Is that right?
No, they just released the
sewer. Just the sewer, okay.
Just the sewer. Any more council discussion? Motion to suspend.
So moved.
Ms. Sonic, I'm sorry, Mr. Booth,
Yes.
Ms. Sonic,
Yes.
Mr. Clement,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Duffy,
Yes.
Mr. Sherman.
Yes.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Sonic,
Yes.
Mr. Clement,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Duffy,
Yes.
Mr. Sherman,
Yes.
Mr. Booth.
Yes.
All right, ordinance 44-23. Need someone to introduce it, please?
I'll introduce it. Thank you.
An ordinance approving wastewater treatment plant phase 2 change order 8 for Nelsonville Regional Collection System project and declaring an emergency. Whereas the city of Nelsonville has entered into a phase 2 wastewater treatment plant, whereas additional changes to the contract are recommended in order to complete the contract, whereas this will be change order 8 for this project, whereas the purpose of this change order is for compensation to extend the driveway around the north side of the site to provide better access to the plant pump station and treatment tanks. Whereas there is sufficient contingency money available to fund this change order. Whereas the change will increase the contract price by $35,795.35 and is summarized as attached in Exhibit 1. Now therefore be ordained by the Council of the City of Nelsonville, Athens County, Ohio as follows. The City of Nelsonville hereby approves change order 8 for the phase 2 wastewater treatment plant contract as described in Exhibit 1, attached hereto and incorporated into this ordinance as if rewritten fully within. The contract price will be increased by the sum of $35,795.35. The change order is for the compensation ability to extend the drive around the north side of the site to provide better access to the plant pump station and treatment tanks at $35,795.35. Acting City Manager Devin Tolliver shall have the authority to enter into, accept, and or authorize the contract change order 7 for phase 2 wastewater treatment plant contract as shown in Exhibit 1. This ordinance is being passed as an emergency measure pursuant to ORC 731.30, Article 4, Sections 4.09 through 4.11 as an emergency in the operation of the city government and is necessary for the immediate preservation of the public peace, health, safety, and moral or welfare of the city, and this ordinance shall be in full force and effect upon its adoption. Duly enacted by council on first reading under suspension of the rules 14th day of August, 2023.
Okay. Any council discussion on said matter?
So this driveway will also be blacktop?
The first portion of it will be, once it, gets to the rear, the north side's the rear of the site, and once it's, in that vicinity, it'll turn gravel, a couple hundred feet, so they can access the entire rear of the property. But the part you see from the road, we talked about and decided to tie that first section in with asphalt along the front where, you know, it blends in with the rest of the asphalt that's in place.
Then everything on the backside's got the geomatting and everything in it, the whole. It's a builder.
So it gives you the ability to get to the backside of the plant and service those tanks and stuff from the outside.
The road will hold up, we can put the back truck.
Back truck is amazing.
Okay. All right.
So since that plant sits kind of below that big hill, is there some kind of erosion protection that's being done?
Yes, we put crown ditch on the bank on the backside there. It's a plant that just spreads and covers the ground well. ODOT uses it on some of their overpasses, steep inclines. And then at the bottom of that hill, the contractor put in a French drain, basically all along the base. They really didn't have a choice. There was a couple areas where there was seeping groundwater coming out of the hills. We've diverted that to one of the storm sewer to control that too. Then we have some catch basins in strategic locations. essentially to catch that runoff and divert it through the site to the front.
Thank you.
Any more council discussions?
There again, in section 2, it's written, change order 7, there should be a match at all.
So, item 2 right there.
Oh,
Motion to suspend the rules?
So moved. Second.
Mr. Clement,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Duffy,
Yes.
Mr. Sherman.
Yes.
Mr. Booth,
Yes.
Ms. Sonic.
Yes,
Motion to adopt?
So moved. Second.
Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Duffy,
Yes.
Mr. Sherman.
Yes.
Mr. Booth,
Yes.
Ms. Sonic,
yes.
Mr. Clement.
Yes.
Yeah, but I also, a couple of these do not print on the back. I think I can leave most of them, but this last one.
Okay. Oh, yeah, it didn't bring the ordinance and the passes and then just about it.
Yeah, this one is
Okay.
I don't mind.
All right. Ordinance 45-23, need someone to introduce it, please? Thank you.
An ordinance amending the 2023 appropriations ordinance to appropriate from the unappropriated balance to the following: fire department appropriations for fire recovery and grant expenditures in the sum of $16,500, and the unappropriated balance of the general fund number 100 to line item 100-200-40010 operating supplies. Wastewater treatment plant department appropriations, the sum of $10,000 from the unappropriated balance of the sewer fund number 750 to line item 750-760-60010 repairs and maintenance expenditures. Police department appropriations for operating expenditures in the sum of $10,000 from the unappropriated balance of the general fund number 100 to line item 100-100-40010 operating supplies. Whereas the 2023 appropriations need amended. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the City of Nelsonville, Athens County, Ohio as follows. The 2023 appropriations ordinance is amended to appropriate from the unappropriated balance to the following funds. Fire department appropriations for fire recovery and grant expenditures in the sum of $16,500 from the unappropriated balance of the general fund number 100 to line item 100-200-40010 operating supplies. Wastewater treatment plant department appropriations, the sum of $10,000 from the unappropriated balance of the sewer fund number 750 to line item 750-760-60012 repairs and maintenance. And police department appropriations for operating expenditures in the sum of $10,000 from the unappropriated balance of the general fund number 100 to line item 100-100-40010 operating supplies. The total appropriated balance is decreased by said amounts. The total appropriations in each respective fund mentioned above are increased by said amounts. This ordinance shall be in full force effect on its adoption, duly enacted by council on second reading. It's just two readings. Yeah, two readings.
September 12th, September 11th. Wow. All right. Second reading, all right. Ordinance 46-23, need someone to introduce it, please?
I will.
Thank you.
Thank you. An ordinance amending the 2023 appropriations ordinance to appropriate $350,000 from the unappropriated balance of the Betty Johnson Fund number 130 to line item 130200-10100, construction and project outlays, and declaring an emergency. Whereas the city of Nelsonville intends to use the Betty Johnson Fund monies in the amount of $350,000 in accordance with council's future and current ordinances that direct the fund to be used as a pass-through fund for the Washington Street upgrade project. And whereas it is necessary for the city auditor and his office to have authority to update the city's certificate of resources with the county budget commission. Whereas ordinance 23-23 is the ordinance that authorized pass-through use of this Betty Johnson Fund. Now therefore be it ordained by the council of the city of Nelsonville, Athens County, Ohio as follows. The 2023 appropriations ordinance is amended to appropriate from the general fund to the following funds: the sum of $350,000 from the unappropriated balance of the Betty Johnson Fund, number 130, to line item 130-200-10100, construction project outlays. The total general fund of the unappropriated balance of the Betty Johnson Fund, number 130 amount is decreased by said amounts. The total appropriations in the fund, line item 130-200-10100, construction project outlays fund mentioned above are increased by said amount. The city auditor and his office and staff are hereby authorized to update the city's certificate of resources with the county budget commission. This ordinance is being passed as an emergency measure pursuant to ORC 731.30, Article 4, Sections 4.09 through 4.11 as an emergency measure in the operation of the city government, and is necessary for the immediate preservation of the public peace, health, safety, morals, or welfare of the city. And this ordinance shall be in full force and effect upon its adoption. Duly enacted by council on first reading under suspension of the rules is 14th day of August, 2023.
Any council discussion on said matter? This is for the Washington Street project. Okay. We do know, does everybody remember what that is? All right. Okay, motion to suspend?
So moved. Second.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Ms. Sonic?
Yes.
Mr. Clement?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
Motion to adopt. I'll second that.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Ms. Sonic?
Yes.
Mr. Clement?
Yes.
Mr. Bailey?
Yes.
Yes. All right. And ordinance 47-23. Need someone to introduce it, please?
I'll introduce it.
Thank you.
An ordinance approving the acting city manager's actions to take any legal acts necessary to make the appropriate changes to the AEP Energy and 3 Point contract, and to authorize payment of $21,154 to 3 Point for a cancellation fee and declaring an emergency. Whereas the acting city manager needs authority and approval to make any and all legal and appropriate changes to the AEP Energy and 3 Point contracts. Whereas the city has wrongfully entered into 2 energy contracts, one with AEP and one with 3 Point. Whereas going forward with the 3 Point contract would have cost the city approximately $100,000 more than going forward with the AEP contract. Whereas a cancellation fee of the 3 Point contract is required in the amount of $21,154. Whereas the acting city manager needs to authorize to take all legal acts necessary to undo prior wrongful acts of the previous acting city manager. Now therefore be ordained by the council of the city of Nelsonville, Ohio. The acting city manager is hereby authorized and approved to take any and all legal acts necessary to straighten out the AEP Energy and 3 Point contract. The city auditor is authorized to remit payment of $21,154 to 3 Point. The invoice is attached as Exhibit 1 and incorporated by reference as a fully rewritten herein. This ordinance is being passed as an emergency measure pursuant to ORC 731.30, Article 4, Sections 4.09 through 4.11, as an emergency in the operation of the city government and is necessary for the immediate preservation of the public peace, health, safety, morals, or welfare of the city, and its ordinance shall be in full force and effect upon its adoption. Duly enacted by council on first reading under suspension of the rules this 14th day of August 2023.
Okay, any council discussion on said matter? Okay. Motion to suspend?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Ms. Sonic?
Yes.
Mr. Clement?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Motion to adopt?
So moved. Second.
Ms. Sonic?
Yes.
Mr. Clement?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
All right, this one I have to go check.
Go ahead,
Go ahead and- Yes. Start with that.
Yeah. City manager's report.
Okay. I'll do that.
We have one more, she's gonna verify this one for you. City manager report, if you would, sir, in the meantime.
So we finally received approval that we were awarded the ARPA retention grant for first responders. That's gonna give us a little over $37,000 to pay our retention bonuses. To all of our first responders that have been employed in the city since it was July 2022, the only employees eligible. That gives, I think it was 10% of our wage as a retention incentive to the state employees, the first responder due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Later this week, I'll be having a meeting with Representative Alderson to discuss community goals and projects that we have going on in the area. He's looking forward to walking around the Parade of the Hills and seeing some faces, I guess. I have a new officer that I'd like to recommend we hire.
Okay.
Quentin Klein is currently employed with the Muskingum County Watershed and Houghton College, I believe, part-time. He's looking to consolidate into somewhere full-time. He's brand new, graduated with the previous 2 hires I have, and he's looking to get somewhere where he can start gaining some real experience.
Has he passed the background check?
He's not had his background check yet. He's got a physical schedule, and he would also be pending a civil service test.
Okay, what's his name?
Quentin
Quentin Klein. Okay, they recommend, motion to appoint Quentin Klein to a full-time officer's position, pending civil service exam pass, background check, on the recommendation of Chief Toller.
Okay.
Just, I mean,
Just
You
made
second
a motion.
Yeah.
Corey seconded.
Mr. Clement?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Ms. Sonic? Yes.
Where does that put you in your staffing?
Sure, 1 officer / 1 cannon officer. How do we want that? So, kind of more related towards the utility committee meeting that you guys are planning on having. I'm gonna try and draft kind of a sample ordinance for pool sewer abatement I'd like us to consider. That way we have something in writing with folks on how we want to handle that. It's kind of, I'm getting a lot of calls in, want to know if we can abate sewer fees for people filling up their pools.
Oh, okay, I understand what you're saying.
Currently, there's nothing on
There's nothing on
the
the books.
books, and it's kind of whatever the city manager feels
Is right.
is right that they're gonna do. So I'd like to get something in writing that way. It doesn't just change arbitrarily.
Okay.
Otherwise, that's all I got. All our projects are running along smoothly, thanks to BLZ and Jason.
I would like to mention, I didn't get that on your radar yet. We just sent out connect notices for the phase 3 sewer project. It's complete where the pump stations are now, ready to run. So the unsewered areas, the folks that did not have sewer will be getting connect notices so they can start connecting to the sewer system. There's not a lot of them, about 14.
Do you know where the pump station's going to be in Scott Street in that triangle? Do you approximately know? Just the only reason I'm asking is because there's an individual in the community that has planted a lot of trees there.
That was the answer.
Okay. Be nice if we could leave those trees alone.
Sure, we'll do our best.
So, I'm just saying. It looks nice.
They're small enough.
They are small enough.
We probably do. That's killing.
All right,
Devin, on the retention bonuses, is there a time limit that we have to disperse that?
We have 30 days to accept it, and then once we've signed all that, we have another 30 days to disperse it. That'd be a lump sum, whichever paycheck falls in that time frame.
So can we pass that this evening? Can we do
That's
a voice
one
vote
of
on
that's
that?
one of the ordinances.
Oh, is that one they were, okay.
Is that one I need to go check on?
No,
no, we already did that.
I didn't get that one. You did?
We got the last one, the very last one.
Really?
Yeah, I don't recall, I haven't seen it.
I don't see that either. Oh, by the way, guys, we need to get these through a little faster. Come on, Bob.
Gotta get it to me by noon on Wednesday.
Yep, they need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. Because we'll hard on our clerk
I know. Okay. You know, to me,
She's threatened to stay.
Wednesday, we're okay. Afternoon, not good.
here. Not good.
Uh,
Sewer plant Jesus.
No.
And he's good.
I know he
He's
is.
very good.
I'm very.
I don't have that. ordinance.
Noon, we don't have it. I was neither.
It was sent to you earlier today as well.
Last
I can pull up my phone for you. We want to read it from there. Is that fine?
Also, before we get, where are we at with our cars?
So, over the last couple of weeks, we issued 11 parking tickets, and we've had 31 interactions with people involving parking violations. So, we're working on getting that all resolved.
Thank you.
Slowly but surely.
All right. So we're to ordinance 48-23. Can someone introduce it, please?
An ordinance to authorize the execution of then and now certificates by the auditor and the payment of amounts due for various purchase orders and declaring it an emergency. Whereas pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, section 5705.41B1, the city may not enter into any contract or give any order involving the expenditure of money unless there is attached thereto a certificate of the city's auditor that the amount required to meet the obligation has been lawfully appropriated for such purpose and is in the treasury or in the process of collection to the credit of an appropriate fund free from any previous encumbrances. And whereas Ohio Revised Code Section 5705.41B1 further provides that such circumstances when no certificate is furnished as required and the expenditure is for $3,000 or more, City Council and the city's tax authority may authorize the drawing of a warrant in payment of amounts due upon such contract or order upon certification by the auditor that there was at the time of such execution of such certificate a sufficient sum appropriated for the purpose of such contract in the treasury or in the process of collection to the credit of an appropriate fund free from any previous encumbrances. And whereas such a certificate of the auditor is known as the then and now certificate, meaning that the funds were available when the contract was made and when the amount due under the contract was or is paid. And whereas the city is issuing then and now certificates in connection with payments due and owing, as shown in exhibits A, B, and C attached. And whereas City Council deems it to be the best in the best interest in the health, safety, and welfare of the city to approve the execution by the auditor of the then and now now certificates, and to authorize the payment of amounts due under the contract or orders requiring expenditures of $3,000 or more. Now therefore, be it ordained by the council of the city of Nelsonville, Athens County, Ohio as follows. That the city council of the city of Nelsonville, pursuant to section 5705.41B1 of the Ohio Revised Code, hereby approves the execution of then and now certificates by the auditor and authorizes payments due and owing in accordance with the schedule attached as exhibits A, B, and C, and incorporated herein. That it is found and determined that all formal actions of this council concerning and relating to the passage of this ordinance were adopted in an open meeting of this council, and that all such deliberations of this council and of any of its committees that resulted in such formal actions were in meetings open to the public in compliance with all legal requirements, including section 1.21.22 of the Ohio Revised Code. This ordinance is being passed as an emergency measure pursuant to ORC 731.30, Article 4, Section 4.09 through 4.11, as an emergency in the operation of the city government and is necessary for the immediate preservation of the public peace, health, safety, morals, or welfare of the city, and this ordinance shall be in full force and effect upon its adoption. Duly enacted by council on first reading under suspension of the rules, 14th day of August, 2023.
Any council discussion on said matter?
I did not see the exhibits. Could you tell me what they are, please? A, B, and C?
Yeah, I can, yes. I'm glad you asked because I made a promise to a resident here today that we would itemize these. So we're gonna start first with Johnson's Fire Equipment. It is for just what it sounds like, fire equipment. Safe Life Defense, which is for vests for the police department. And Motorola, which is for radio purchases and installs for the cruisers. And the quick refresher for anyone not on the finance committee is that then and nows are just what they sound like. Purchase then, approve now. Doesn't always work out that simply. City's a complicated place, as you can imagine. But the state auditors actually just, conversation's nice. You might not want mentioned in the minutes, but let's say with a former auditor here, we just discussed whether the state auditors held the standard where these $3,000 plus then and nows had to come before council. I searched council till the number hit 1989 and didn't find a single example. So it's been some time since the auditors have requested this standard, but since they've requested it, you guys may see some of these, although hopefully not too many.
So the amounts, is a total of 3,000 or individual 3,000?
3,000 or more is the state standard, but I can give you the amounts for each one.
Please.
And these are in everybody's emails as well. 4,841, that's the Johnsons. Safe Life, 3,357 even. And the Motorola is our biggie, it's for window. All the radios were replaced. Mr. Tolliver and some police sergeants, I'm sure, can discuss the frustration they've had with how the process has taken forever, but it's $21,410 and $46. And the state standard is essentially the purchase.
$46 or 46 cents?
Oh, I shut it too soon. 46 cents. His council is authorizing the warrant or the check. So the purchase is able to keep going with the then and now certificate, but council has to review and say we're good to send the check.
I just want to make sure that citizens of Nelsonville.
No, I'm glad. This was a request at the finance meeting that they be discussed individually.
Thank you very much.
So thanks, Bill. Any other questions?
All right, any more council discussion? All right, motion to suspend.
Okay.
Motion to suspend.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Clement,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Ms. Sonic?
Yes.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Ms. Sonic?
Yes.
Mr. Clement?
Yes.
All right. Do you want to leave that section?
Do we need a motion?
We need a motion to amend the agenda to add, I would say, just going in order,
49.
49-23, our ordinance. 49-23. Yeah, it's from emergency too.
Okay, somebody wanna,
I'll
Want
introduce.
to introduce it?
no, we're
Oh.
gonna amend the agenda.
Motion to amend the
Oh,
agenda.
yes.
Somebody second
So
that.
moved.
Second.
Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes. So moved.
Ms. Sonic?
Yes.
Mr. Clement?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Okay. And just a minute. An ordinance accepting the terms and conditions of the grant money for the Ohio EMA ARPA First Responder Retention Incentives in the amount of $37,085.00 and declaring an emergency. Whereas the city of Nelsonville has been awarded grant money in the amount of $37,085. $37,085 from the Ohio EMA ARPA First Responder Retention Incentives. Whereas the city desires to accept the grant awards and the terms and conditions of the grants. And whereas the city desires to place all grant monies into
BB 100.
general fund. Now therefore be ordained by the council of the city of Nelsonville, Athens County, Ohio as follows. That city of Nelsonville accepts Ohio EMA ARPA First Responder Retention Incentive Grant in the amount of $37,085. The acting city manager shall have the authority to take any and all necessary and legal steps to receive the Ohio EMA ARPA First Responder Retention Incentive Grant. The city auditor shall raise the general fund in the amount of $37,085. This ordinance is being passed as an emergency measure pursuant to ORC 731.30, Article 4, Sections 4.09 through 4.11 as an emergency in the operation of the city government and is necessary for the immediate preservation of the public peace, health, safety, morals, or welfare of the city, and this ordinance shall be in full force and effect upon its adoption. Duly enacted by council on first reading of the suspension of the rules the 14th day of August, 2023.
Okay. Any council discussion on said matter?
Now, when that's appropriated, there'll be a list of names as well as amounts.
Yeah, I believe I forwarded everyone there's an Excel sheet that has the amounts and everything on it for everyone.
Any more council discussion? All right. Motion to suspend?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Ms. Sonic? Mr. Clement?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes. Move to adopt.
I'll second that.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Ms. Sonic?
Yes.
Mr. Clement?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Duffy?
Yes. All right. That's all of them.
Yeah.
All of them.
Let's go up to work.
Right. We've done the city manager's report. For the good order, Mr. Sherman.
I just want to clear a few things up here. I was accused in the Athens Messenger about trying to break into the city auditor's email and the service director's emails. And this was said by Jay Saunders, our IT person. Just a quick little blurb from one of these emails is Councilman Sherman and Jay Saunders attested both their phone calls requesting less than note 4 times the different individuals to access these emails. Mr. Booth chimed in and said, "It's funny you have brought this up. Mr. Saunders told me himself that Ms. Tingles asked him to grant access to city personnel accounts, and Mr. Sherman's calling him, portraying acting council president, saying he was calling on behalf of the city manager and asking Mr. Saunders to grant Mr. Sherman access to the same." So I contacted Mr. Saunders. I was like, "What's up?" Because I only contacted Jay Saunders one time. And that was just to let him know that Tony and him had quit. And that was the only conversation I had with him. So I talked to Jay, and Jay sent me this email. Statement on Dan Sherman. Dan Sherman reached out to inform me several council members had resigned from their email accounts, needed to be disabled, passwords reset. For city records purpose, I informed Dan that this request had to come from the city manager, and within a few minutes, I got the same request from Bree Rolls to disable the former council members' accounts. At no time did Dan Sherman ask me to break into any council emails accounts revealing communication data. The Athens Messenger article on July 10th is wrong in this aspect. So I sent Jay another email, just said thanks. And he responded to that again, as well as, "No problem, nor did you ask me to break into any city email accounts. Just wanted to clarify." I have copies for everybody if they want copies of this. I do expect a retraction in the Athens Messenger. And, hopefully that'll get cleared up.
I think Dan is owed an apology by the council. I believe you were the one that kept accusing him of
I
everything.
never said anything. I wasn't even.
No, I'm the one that said it, because I talked to Jay Saunders.
Let's get our facts
And what he
straight.
told me
I'm
was,
talking about.
Right there, he sent me the
the
email.
man said it to me on the phone, he didn't mention your name, he said it was someone who said they were acting city council. And they're calling from a Florida phone number. What phone number, what interchange your phone?
I have 904 area code.
That's Florida, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's,
Well, gee, so he sent me this.
okay, all right, let's move on. Let's move on.
Oh, no, why? He.
Because it's a dog and pony show and we're done with it.
Oh, it's a
Oh,
Boston Party show.
Oh, my God.
Because it's not done this way.
I'd like to speak,
Order.
Point of order.
Point of order. Let's move on. We're moving on.
I'd like to speak
Mr.
a little bit of the
No,
order.
we're not gonna
You
lie.
want to move on. So
Move
the
on. Order.
attorney- The
Order.
attorney
Says-
is telling you to move on
Yeah.
Please,
because you
Yeah, good advice, move on.
I'd like to speak,
All right,
please,
Mr. Booth.
the good of the order. I have an email
No,
to read from Mr. Johnny
citizens
Flowers.
speak, Done.
Done. Your turn.
Mr. Johnny Flowers
All right,
sent me an email
Out of order.
that he was not informed of
Okay,
the,
we're not going
vote
to
tonight.
We're done. We're not
he
going
wants the
any
public
vote.
to know that he was not informed,
Okay, enough.
that he
Order.
emailed all the
Ms. Stein.
council, and he emailed Susan 2 days after Glenda resigned.
Good order.
The sneaky
Mr.
motion that was made
Mr.
and the way they tried to do it.
Mr. Clement.
Typical, just typical.
Order. Enough.
Sure.
If you don't like it, you can leave.
So,
Enough.
On a positive note, Spring of the Hills this week. I hope it's a great festival. That's all I have.
Same here. I hope we have some great weather. I'm excited for Parade of Hills, and I hope everybody has a safe and wonderful time. Also, good luck to the Buckeyes coming up in the Trimble game. So, go Buckeyes.
Okay. All right, motion to go into executive session.
Can I ask a non-controversial question? The thing that I brought up from Mary Moffett, can I tell her that it will be sent to the appropriate committee?
It'll be sent to the utilities head.
Okay, thank you.
Or street department.
That's all I needed to, thank you.
Okay. Motion to go into the executive session, ORC 121.22 for legal and personnel matters. Inviting in Mr. Bob Toy. And. Anybody else?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Ms. Sonic? Mr. Clement?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Oh, Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
All right, we'll leave these people here, they'll go in a little, at the time, it's 8:35. Okay, a motion to come out of executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Clement?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Duffy?
Yes.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Ms. Sonic?
Okay, we have a.
Time is 9 o'clock.
Time is 9 o'clock, straight up. We have a petition here from the Ohio Division of Liquor Control. It is referring to the Mine Tavern, the transfer of the liquor license to Mine Tavern. Does anyone here have an objection for the transfer, with not having a hearing, not requesting a hearing? I don't request.
They're doing a great job.
Are we all good with that?
No, all right.
Okay, all right, so there you go.
When's the party?
When's the party? I don't know.
Over there.
We'll have to negotiate that. So, all right, well, also, the night that we have the police and fire committee and the utilities, we will have a special meeting before that to interview the candidates. So as soon as you guys come up with a date, we'll interview the candidates for the open seat, and therefore then they can be appointed to seat positions or whoever it is, and then you're done. Okay, so as soon as you guys get that figured out, what night, we'll call a special meeting.
Can we add to that special meeting updating the,
Committee.
no, staffing to include the 20 part-time firefighters?
I'm not gonna read that.
No, she's not gonna read that.
Well, we'll talk about it.
We'll talk about that.
Police and fire again.
Police and fire. So, all right,
It was just discussed previously.
motion to adjourn, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Mr.
Yep, it's me. Yep, I voted, yep.
Mr. Taylor? Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Ms. Sonic?
Yes.
Mr. Clement?
Good one.
Yes.
Should ask them how to figure it.
Okay.
Time is 9:02.